So hello everyone, welcome to this another video of this channel. I am Abhishek Verma and you are watching Spring Basics with Spring Boot series. In today's video, we will see how to read the properties from the properties file. Basically application.properties file. We will see what are the two different ways of reading the properties. Then we will see what happens when we want to read from a different custom property file and not the application property file. We will also see what will happen if the same property is available in application properties as well as custom property file. Which one will be given the preference? Then we will also see how to read from multiple custom property files. We will also see what is going to be the preference of those multiple custom property files. At the end, we will also see what happens if your code is unable to recognize your property files, how to resolve such issues. Now, if you want to know the answer of all such variety of questions with the help of a code and the latest demo, then believe me, this is the right video. So directly let's get started with the code.
So now we are in the IDE, and as you can see that I have already copied demo 10 and made it as demo 11. So I hope that you have already watched the previous video where we created this demo 10. Now going for this demo 11, what we will do is that directly I will execute the code once so that we can ensure that whatever is currently available in my code, that is working fine. And whenever you also download any code, so whether you are downloading my code from the GitHub or you are working in your project or maybe you are downloading your friend's code, always execute the existing code first so that you can ensure that afterwards you are making change. So there was no error before your changes. So for that purpose. So first of all, let's quickly execute. And as always, this is my favorite place to execute it. So let's see. So if I scroll this up, so you can see it has started with this Spring, and within this it is saying that it has started the demo with Java version 17. No profile is set and it has started the demo. Also it is printing me this particular statement saying that found owner with owner ID 10. Now why is it so? Because if you see, I'm using logger here, and beside this, so if you see this one, so here we are saying found owner. So first of all, it is finding the owner with the default ID. So if I go inside this in the implementation, so you see what it will do is it will pick the owner ID, and the default owner ID is 10, which I have currently hard coded in my code. Now then it will go towards the repository, and there, since it is an even ID, so it will say found owner with owner ID 10. So this statement has been printed here. Post that, it is asking me to provide another ID, and if I will give it as an odd ID, so let's say 11. So then it is going to throw me a particular exception that it is not able to find the owner with owner ID 11, because this time code will come in this particular else part. So this is how the code is currently working, and it has already stopped. So let's clear the console. So now we have a guarantee that our code is working fine. And now let's start doing the changes. So as I told you that now we will be reading the values from the properties file. So for this, what we will do is that currently you see this 10 is hard coded in my code here. Now, as you know, this is a very small piece of code. We are not interacting with anything like database or anything like with the web application. So hence I have only these small things to show you. But in the real world application, it may happen that here you are having some database details, or here maybe you are having some log messages or like these kind of messages also. So let's again go to repository. So these kind of messages. So currently I have hard coded all these messages, but in a better application, what they say is that instead of hard coding the things like this, better you put them in some properties file. Now you will say, what is the benefit of picking and all these properties in a properties file? The benefit is here, if I make currently any small change like this 11. So you see the issue is that it has made a change in the class. Now I need to recompile the class again. So that is the issue, just for a very small change. Now consider for a very big application having, let's say, 30 or 50 classes. There these kind of things will happen frequently. So just by making a small change, if everything changes for you, then it's an issue. Another point is that here we need to go to each and every class to see what particular variable is there, what is the value. Instead of it, it would have been beneficial if we can have these values also in our properties file. So initially we will just move this owner ID to the properties file. Once we are clear with the concept, we will move both these values also to the properties file. So let's start with this service IMPL only. So here, let me make it 10 again and just save it. Yeah. Now the thing is that since I need to keep it in the properties file, so currently you see that I'm having this application.properties file. And in the previous demo, if you remember, we added all these properties. First of all, the application name, which is demo only, and then these are the logging related properties. And as I mentioned you that in the better applications, instead of having size as 1 KB or 10 KB, you should have an ideal size of 10 MB. Rest it depends on your project requirements only. So this is how it is going to look like. Now what I will do is I will move this owner ID in this application properties, and from there I will be reading it. So I'll say here owner.id. So this is how I'm going to write, and I will be using the value here as 100 so that you can identify that we are using this value, not the existing one. Now you may say that Abhishek, why you are using this dot here? What is the purpose of it? So there is a simple reason. If you see all these properties which are already there in the Spring, or you can say Spring Boot, they are in this particular format. Always they are in the lowercase and they are separated by a dot here. If required, we are making usage of this hyphen. So when we are making our own property also, we should be writing in a similar way only so that it doesn't sounds different. Yeah. So let's save it. Now you will see there is this yellow symbol here. Now why is this yellow symbol available here is because application.properties file is meant for the properties related to the application. Basically those properties which are related with some kind of dependency. Like here you say this is completely Spring related property. These are the logging related properties. So basically in this file we should be writing only these kind of properties like database related, server related properties, not our own properties. For this we should write it in a different file that we will learn later, but as of now let's write here only. Yeah. But the point is this is not a good place to write your own custom properties. Yeah. So let's go back again here. So here let me copy this name. So this is the way I will be copying it. So now the thing is, how should I tell that now you don't need to make usage of this 10 and instead you need to make usage of this owner.id which is mentioned in application.properties. So for this the rule is simple. Here you just need to say dollar and then you can say something like these braces and then you can mention it like this owner.id. Now you will see that something like this you have already seen in this particular playlist. And the thing is that in the last video, if you remember, whenever we wanted to use something as a variable, so I wanted to use this term logs again and again. So I made it as a variable like this. I wanted to use my application name again and again. So instead of writing, I wrote it like this dollar symbol, braces, and then the property name. Same way, here also we need to write. But remember within these double inverted commas. Yeah. Automatically it will understand whether it's a string, double, or whatever is the data type. So this is how we will write owner.id. Now let's run it again. And this is the only change which you need to do as of now. No change in your demo class. Yeah. So let me run this again. This time we are using the property, the value as 100. So now if I execute, you see I'm getting the output as found owner with owner ID 100, which means this time it is reading the value from the properties file, and it's that easy, guys. So that's the only change which you need to do. whatever the property you wish, you just mention in this place, like owner.id equals to 100. And then here, if it is your variable, then you mention it like this, owner.id, and the job is done for you guys. So I hope this one is simple here. Now, if this is the case, now let's move on towards the repository IMPL here. So let's go in this one. Now here also, you see, I'm saying found owner with owner ID this. So I want this to be converted to a particular property here, guys. So what should I do? Again, I should be making here something. So let's say it as owner.found. Owner.found.message. Let's call it something like this. Owner found, and I hope that is enough. Owner found. Yeah. So this is the one. Let's copy this and let's paste it here. Yeah. Same way, let's make one more, owner dot not dot found, and let's again do the same thing. So here let me make it. So I'll just copy this one and I will paste it here. So this is the way. Now the point is, here you don't need these double inverted commas, so you can remove it. Yeah. So this we have removed. This is the one. Now I need to copy these, but the point is that in order to copy, I need to have a variable. So let's make a variable first of all. So here what I will do is, I'll again show you a trick, maybe you know or you don't know. So many times when you just want to make a variable from any part of your code, what you can do is just click on this and you just do a refactor and you say extract a constant. Yeah. And here the name of the variable I want to be as owner.found. So this is the one, owner.found. Let's say owner.found, it says is not a valid Java identifier. Okay, because in Java you see we don't have these names as dot and something like this. So here we need to give a Java name. So we will say owner found. So this I will say, but I don't want it to be a static and final. Because if you remember, in one of the videos, I have mentioned that why you can't use static with your auto wired and @ value. If you have not watched that particular interview question, then the link is on the top. So there you can watch it. But whenever you want to use @auto wired or @ value, the variable can't be static. It can be final, but not static. So let's remove it here and just keep it in this particular way. Also, I don't want the value to be here. Instead, I will be taking it from the @ value. So I will say here @ value, something like this, guys. So this @ value exists. Then I will say these double inverted commas, and within these what I will do is I will say this dollar symbol, then these braces, and now let's go back here. So let's copy this one, owner.found. So this is the way. And please ensure that both these variable names are almost similar to each other. Otherwise it will be difficult for you. Like here, if you will say the name is owner found, but there you will say something else, ID found, then it will be little confusing why we are writing in this way or that way. So that's the point, guys. Yeah. So this way it is picking. And now there is one more variable. So now the thing is that this means every time whenever we want a variable, so first of all, we need to make it as a class level variable, and then we need to use @value. Yeah. And then you need to do it like this, dollar and something like this. So there is one more interesting way. Another interesting way is you can do it like this. You can say what is required is that first of all, we just need to auto wire. So let's say @auto wired, something like this. And here what we are going to auto wire today is something new which you don't have seen till now, that is environment. So this environment we are going to auto wire, guys. Now you remember, whenever we auto wire something, that means that its bean should be available to us. Either we should have a configuration class where we are making the bean, or we should have a normal class on which we should be saying @component, @service or something like this. But from where this environment is coming? Till now I don't have any class by the name of environment. So if you go, this environment is actually coming from the Spring framework. And it is the job of this environment that it will automatically pick from the application.properties file. So if you wish, you can see the details here. Okay. So this environment is basically a kind of interface only, which will be again picking the values from these kind of properties file for you. Yeah. Now let's see how it will make a change. So what I can do is I will say environment, and then here I will paste it directly. So I will just paste it like this, environment dot get property. So this is how you just need to say environment dot get property. And within this property, what we just need to give is we need to give it as a string. So this one, and property is this one, which I want, owner not found. So let me copy and let me paste it here, owner not found. So you see, I have shown you two different ways. First option is that you are already having @ value. So in your service class, you are already having @ value, and then you just mentioned it like this, dollar, and then whatever is your property name is. So that. Another option is that here you were not having the variable. So first of all, we made a variable and then we used it like this. That is another option. Third one is that if you don't want to make a variable, so what you can do is you just auto wire the environment. So this needs to be as it is because it is going to come from Spring Boot, and this is your variable name. It can be anything. So you auto wire it and then you say get property and directly mention the property name which you have used in the properties file. So now let's execute. So I guess I forgot to stop the code earlier. So let me double click and stop it first. So now let me start it again. So there we go, and here we start. So now if you see, first of all, again it is reading the value, found owner with owner ID 100. So that is done. Now first of all, let me execute it for the correct one. So that, or yeah, like you see, even this time, this particular value is not being anywhere hard coded in this particular file. So we are not hard coding it anywhere. We are picking it from the other place. Yeah, that is the properties file. So this time let me give a odd number so that we can see whether it is coming or not. So let me say 11, and this time let's see. So you see it is again picking the right value. Can't find owner with owner ID 11. So this means that both of the ways are working fine. If you wish, you can say @ value. If you wish, you just auto wire the environment variable once and then directly keep on using this environment.getProperty owner not found. So now this is going to be your choice, whether you want to use it in the environment way or you want to use it in this particular way of owner.found. So that is the point, guys. I hope this is clear to you. Now just to make the thing simple as of now, what I will do is I'll just replace this auto wired with the same @ value, because in my case currently I just want to make the things simple. So I'll just hard code it in this particular way only, that is owner not found. Yeah. So currently I'll just do it in this way directly. So that's the thing. So this is the way. Same way you can auto wire the environment anywhere in your repository class, service class, wherever you wish, you can auto wire the environment. If you don't wish to auto wire the environment, another option is directly take it as a value. Now let's rerun once again and let's verify. So I'll make this time as 13, and again you see things are working fine for me. Can't find owner with owner ID 13. So this means that today you have seen how to use all these values. Yeah. So here we are making usage of @ value and we are saying owner found. Another way is this @ auto wired, and we were making usage of the environment. So both of the ways were working fine for us. Now let's do something more interesting. And for this, what we will do is that as of now, I mentioned you that this application.properties is not a right place for all such properties. Because you see, now the problem is that first of all, your actual properties which are related with your application, so those properties and your custom properties are getting mixed. So now if there is a new person which is just looking your code for the first time. Now, and if they know, let's say Spring Boot, so they will come to know that, okay, what is the meaning of this logging.file path, what is the meaning of file name and all this, because they have already worked with the Spring Boot. But they don't know what is the meaning of this owner ID, owner found, owner not found. Because for them, they need to first of all think that, okay, these are not the default properties, these are custom properties. So as a good practice, don't put your custom properties here, and instead put these properties into some different file. So what I will do is I will make a new file here. So let's say this file. So we will go and let's call it as messages.properties file. So this is the one, because you see owner.found is a message, owner not found is a message. So as of now, let's keep owner ID also in this messages only. Yeah. So this way, let's keep it here. And now let's remove all these values from here. So let me say Control X and let me paste it here. Yeah. So this is how I'm using. So they are no more available here. Now let me execute the code again. So if we are executing the code again, so let's see now what happens. So this time on executing the code, you see I'm getting errors here. It is not working fine for me. Why? Because here it says that when it tried to execute this particular code, so first of all, it was trying to create a bean for demo. Why it was creating a bean for demo? Because of this Spring application annotation. Yeah. And so here you see it was trying to make a bean for owner service, and then it was trying to make something for this owner repository also. But the point is, if we just scroll down, so on the bottom you will see the correct message. It is not able to identify this placeholder owner.found. So it was not able to do this. Yeah. And is it showing for anything else also? So currently it is not showing for anything else. Why so? Why it is showing only for this owner.found? Because you try to see. First of all, this code started here. Here it identified that in order to create a bean, or in order to start this code, I need to have a bean of owner service. So it went to owner service MPL. Then before coming to owner ID, first of all it said I need to have a bean of owner repository. So it went to your owner repository MPL. And then the very first thing was owner.found. Now since this value is not available, it didn't move ahead, and there only it gave you the error that it is not able to resolve the placeholder owner found. Why? Because by default, whenever you write something like this, or you make usage of the environment class or environment interface, so it will always look to your application.properties file. Here we don't have owner.found. So that's the issue, guys. Yeah. So now we need to tell it that instead of looking to application.properties file, you need to look to the messages.properties file. So I hope the problem statement is clear. Till now my code was working fine when I was using application.properties file, because it's a default file available here for all the properties. But now I have moved my properties to messages.properties file, and now I need to convey to Spring Boot, don't use application.properties file, instead make usage of messages.properties file for any extra variable. So let's go again here, and on the top, so first of all what we will do is, here we will say property. So we will say this property, and you will go for this one, property source. So this is the point, guys. Now within this property source, what we will do is we will do it something like this, and we will say here messages dot properties. Yeah. So here we will say messages. You need to ensure the name is correct. So the best option is that you go to this particular one, you say here rename refactor. Okay. So somehow you tell it, and from there you copy paste the name. Many times it happens here, you just say message and then the things are gone. So just avoid all those things. Yeah. Another thing is you need to tell that it is on your class path. So here you say class path colon. So this way. So many times it may work just by saying messages.properties only, but as a good practice, you should always say class path colon. In case if there is another folder within the resources folder, then you need to give that folder names also. So let's say that this resources is not the direct base. Within this, you have one more folder. So you give the folder name and then you write the properties file name. As of now, for me, it is direct, so I will write it like this. So now let's execute the code again. So here I'm executing it again. And this time you see my code is again working fine. So again, it is working and it is able to pick the value 100 also. So this 100 value is also available here. This statement found owner with owner ID is also available here. And if I make it with something, let's say 13, then that value is also available here, that can't find owner with owner ID 13. So this is how the things are working for us. So if that is the case, now let's see something more interesting. So now you have seen, first of all, how to read a property from your properties file. Then we have seen that if it is application.properties, it's very easy and we have two ways: @value, other one is with the help of environment. Now, if I want to go with any other properties file, then first of all, I need to move the properties there, and then I need to make usage of @property source and mention the thing. So just in one place you need to mention wherever your main class exists. Yeah. So this is the point. Now another question comes up is, so now the basic part for this video is over. Now we are just having some cross questions which may come to your mind, and they should definitely come to your mind. So if you wish, you can pause the video here and then you can ask those questions. So first you ask those questions, then you see whether I was able to cover it already in this video or not. If I won't be able to cover, then I may cover it as a part of the interview question. Yeah. So you do. Now the first question is, what if there exists a value which is a part of messages.properties file also and application.properties file also. I mean something like this. So copy and I'll paste it here. And here, just to make it a different value, let's call it as 200. Now you tell me which value will be used, 200 from application.properties file or 100 from messages.properties file. Pause the video, think once, and then tell me which one will be used, 100 which is in messages.properties or 200 which is in application.properties. Now let's revise the concept once again, what we just learned till now. So we learned by default it always looks in the application.properties file. Now just imagine if it will look here always for the first time, and it is able to identify something here that okay, owner.id is already available here. Do you think it will go to messages.properties to look for this value? This is the same case that at your home, let's say that some particular item is finished. Okay, so it may be sugar, or it may be a pen, it may be a pencil or something. So something has been finished at your home. So where will you go? To your nearby market or to a market which is 200 kilometers away? So obviously for Spring Boot, application.properties is the nearest marketplace. So first of all, it will come here. If something is already available, that value will be used. If it is not, then it will go to the next file which is mentioned here, that is messages.properties. And here is a proof. So let me just execute it. And now you see that on executing, it is actually picking value as 200, not 100. Why? Because it started here, 200 it found here only, so it picked this one and it ignored this particular 100. Then for this owner.found and owner not found, these values were not available in the application.properties. So hence it was looking into messages.properties for these particular values. So this is how the things are going to work. So this way one question is clear. Now some of you may say, what if the value is not available in application.properties and messages.properties? Then what will happen? So let's see that also, or otherwise I guess you have already seen that. Okay, so here also let me comment. So this is the way to comment, and here also let me comment. So I'm commenting this also. Now you tell me which one will be used or what will happen. So I have commented owner ID here also and in property and application.properties file also. So now let me first stop it again. I always forget to stop. This trick also I will tell you that without stopping how you can reload your code, but at the end, not in today's video. So now I have started it again, and now you see the problem. So the code started here. It came to know that beside application, it needs to load the messages.properties file. Then it came here to the owner service. In the owner service, then it went to the owner repository. And then in the owner repository, it identified there are two variables, owner found, owner not found. So those were already loaded. Then it came back to the owner service, and then it identified I need to load the owner ID also. But this owner ID is neither available in properties file, application.properties, and neither it is available in the messages.properties file. So that is the issue. So if it is not available anywhere, it will be completely ignored. So this way another question have been covered. Just one more small thing before you leave, that many times it happens that you have given the correct name also here. Here also it is available within resources only, but then also what it says that it is unable to identify the file. Then you keep on searching everywhere that okay, I have given the correct name, it is available here also, then why is it not picking up? So for those scenarios, what you just need to do is you need to go to this demo 11 and say as Maven update project. So in case it is unable to identify your file, just say update project once so that you update your Maven project. And then believe me, it will surely pick your file if the name is correct and it is available within the resources folder. If it is available in some completely different location, then you need to give the complete path for that particular file. So I hope the things are clear, and now you know how to read from the properties. So bye bye.